Oil under there is gonna be crud. Are we on?
We're ready.
Okay, we're up and running. All right, well, thanks everybody for coming. Kind of quiet today, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just talk to myself like most nights. Well,
Okay.
we have
Thank you.
a new liaison. Let's wait a little bit till we get a few more in. You okay
Certainly.
with that?
Of course.
Before we get in, because I just want to introduce you and then let you tell everybody why you decided this was a good idea.
Okay, well, I will be, thanks for giving me a minute to think
I
on
would say
that.
give her a couple minutes.
Yeah, you have to come up with a real good one there.
Now we can start the meeting. We got enough.
Okay, glad to see you. How many hours did you have this time,
Oh,
Russ?
10.
All right. Okay. So, we have the minutes from last month. Did everybody get a chance to review them? Any corrections? I didn't. Any corrections I had, I already worked out with Judy, so.
Okay.
We're good? Okay, well, you want to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, good. Minutes are approved, hot dang. All right, then on the financial report, the only money we've spent this year so far has been on the water bags and a little bit more that we used to buy the water truck equipment. So we're still in good shape on that.
When does that come in?
The,
Equipment is
the
already in?
everything's in, they're modifying it to change where the reels are, and we had to order some more parts, but I'm not sure if they're in.
When do they plan on watering?
Wanted to start next month, or next
month.
week.
Next week.
Well, which is next month.
Both correct answers.
Yes, both correct, all right. So, I've got stuff on here that I need input from Quentin, so I'm gonna jump around on the agenda here a little bit. Heartland Commerce Park. We went out there, we surveyed the site, we selected locations for trees, we went over it with Jeff Goki a couple, 2 or 3 times. I've had several meetings with them. They have finally decided, yes, they want to do it. So we're a little late in the year, and Brian is comfortable planting the arborvitaes, but probably nothing else. And I think there was a total of 40 arborvitaes around the area. Once those get in, part of the agreement when they planted them was they bought the bags that we'll use to hang on the trees when we do them, and we agreed to water them. So in the agreement I had with them, we agreed to water them the first growing season because we knew we were going to be in 2 seasons. So some of them will get, as they go in this year, they'll be watered. Then next year we'll probably hit the majority of them because we'll have more of them in next year. But that's all a go. It's going to look good when it's all done. The only thing we haven't totally worked out is, and again, this is for Quentin, they have a little smoking pavilion in the back, and then where the sign is out front on the corner of Sandusky and Chestnut, there are going to be arborvitaes in there, but they wanted wildflowers in both those locations. So I talked to him about getting some seed, but I don't know where we are.
I do not think we have ordered it yet, but we still plan to.
Yeah, and I talked to Brian and asked him to let us know when they were doing the planters so that we get the seed in before they mulch it.
Yep.
Okay. So
That won't be a problem.
we'll just keep on top of that one.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody got any questions about any of that?
Nope.
All right.
How many trees again, Doc?
I think it was 184 was the total.
Ooh.
Yeah, $59,100.
And how many were arborvitae?
You know, I'd have to, I'll tell you what, while we're talking here, you want to count them?
I guess. If it's evident which is which.
They'll say arborvitae on
Okay.
them.
Oh,
I was guessing 40, but I could be off by 20.
freeze. Me? Oh, I just grabbed it out of my purse. I only had one. It's from out there.
You see that, people?
Yeah.
You don't share.
You gotta share.
I do share. I only had one. It was
They just seen that on YouTube video. People are watching the whole thing. You didn't share your lifesaver.
Oh, well. All right.
I'm teasing.
Let's go to Arbor Day. We had originally talked about Arbor Day at Dan Emmett School, but they have decided with the new construction in the area, their new playground and the mixed-use path coming in, they did not want to be involved this year. So I went to Pleasant Street, and they were going to be more than happy to have us there, but it's going to be on May the 9th at 9:30 in the morning. So it's Friday, May 9th at 9:30. The mayor will be there for to read his proclamation, and Bill Cedar will be there to read a book. They are in the middle of their testing, so there may not be much of a program this year. Usually they have readings or poems they write and artwork, but I don't believe much of that will happen this year. And Wendy's again this year is gonna help us with that, and every kid will get a Frosty this year again.
Oh,
So that works out real nice. And, we're gonna plant a bald cypress. It'll be back in the northwest corner of the building. There's a hill that leads up to the Curtis property. It's an area that tends to lay a little wet. And Brian, we looked at it and thought this is a perfect place for a bald cypress. And they were interested in more of a pine tree of some sort as opposed to a deciduous. So it's working out in many ways there. So if you can be there Friday at 9:30, great. Judy will be there. She'll take pictures of the kids doing the things, and we'll
Yep.
get our credit for having an Arbor Day. On the TCP program, which is TCP is Tree Sitter Partners. It's a program where we provide trees to the community, members of the community. Sarah, you want to talk about it a little bit? You're up on that way more than that.
Well, so it is when individuals, as a one-off, they're not in an area that's getting targeted for tree planting, which happens, and then there'll be grants that fund that, and there'll be letters that go out or whatever, and people correspond. But this is not the whole neighborhood. This is a random call into Judy, go on the website, request a tree
we have one in my yard.
that you did doing with TCP. Okay, so you,
Well, I don't know if it was TCP, but we got one through the Shade Tree Commission.
It probably
Okay.
was then.
okay,
Yeah.
was it before you?
Oh yeah, it was like 4 years ago.
But I mean, but you were living there.
Yeah,
But you requested it, or?
we did.
Okay, so you are a TCP recipient.
How about that?
So
Do I
I
have
sort
to
of,
be, am I kicked off now?
no.
Okay.
That's how you get sucked onto this committee. I was a recipient of a lot of nice trees, and then somehow I got asked to join. So I think it's like the entryway into the.
It must be.
But so anyway, people can go on and request, and I follow up starting in the summer and get in touch with them and go through their yard and talk to them about what they want, and then I go with Brian, who's the expert, and sometimes tweaks what they're asking for.
Awesome.
But it can be anywhere in Mount Vernon. It's not in like a specific section that's done. So the way the monies are funneled is a little bit separate.
And we have different accounts for different programs.
Mm.
And the only requirement is the homeowner has to water the tree for the first year. Right?
We
Yes.
did.
Yeah.
We were vigilant.
Very good. And this year you did
70?
70 trees.
Wow.
And Brian had started on that TCP, so he's just getting
I think we got like maybe 67 trees yet to go or
60
something.
to go. So he's really just getting started on that
Well,
project.
but I think you
Well,
have
we've got
more.
quite a few.
Yeah, I
others,
don't think
yeah.
those are all TCP
Oh, okay,
ones.
okay. 67 total.
Total.
Ac-
Yeah.
and actually
There
my-
might be a couple here and there, but.
My
Oh, that's good.
first year doing TCP, it was a bit of a different scenario, which was they did target an area, but it was still considered TCP, so it was more of a neighborhood. So I don't know if that will happen again or at some point, but it was still the homeowner's responsibility to water, but it was more of an area that we targeted with mailings, and they responded. So, but now I just go through the list of random.
Wow.
People that
I think it's awesome.
requested. So the TCP program's up and running, we're getting the trees in. Then I have grants on there. Grants are the other grants that we have where we target neighborhoods. And this year we targeted the west end from Sandusky Street south and Norton Street and the river. Laura took care of that, a good portion of it.
I did Gambier South to Arch, and then Zane did a lot of High Street to Gambier.
So we put in, it was over 100 trees, I believe, in that neighborhood.
I don't remember what the total was
It was-
between the two.
Amazing.
It was good.
That's fantastic.
Way more than I thought we'd get.
That's awesome.
You're
Way
13.
more.
You're gonna get
Yeah,
13.
I thought we were gonna get 13 trees, yeah.
I drove down West Gambier, and I was sort of counting while driving it. It looked amazing.
It looks good, yeah. I was down there yesterday.
It definitely is it's gonna look nice in a few years. We also targeted Sandusky Street because we put new sidewalks on the west side of Sandusky a couple years ago. And that one was like 14
It really was.
That one really was.
I'll give you that one.
And we also did a section of Pleasant Street and Catherine Street, because we redone the brick
And-
streets in there, and we
yeah.
didn't really have a tree lawn, so we're in on people's property for those.
Yeah.
And that limits our acceptance also, but I can't give you the exact number on that, I don't have it off the top of my head. So it's going well, and Brian says he's on his way. Good. We got a late start this year. Usually they start planting in the fall, but with the weather we had, it didn't really work out very well.
What was the count? 426? I feel
Four-
like that was the count. of
Yeah,
total
426 is what you told me.
trees last month. So that wouldn't have changed.
No, 465.
Okay.
Was the 2024?
That was what we were planning for.
The number of trees we encumbered in the 2024 year to be planted, which is this year. So
What we're working on now.
trees go in the year after the funds have been encumbered. So yeah, 426 trees we plant. We'll be planting this year.
Wow.
That's about kind of where we are.
465.
465.
Yeah.
Yeah, we each try to get around 400,
Yep. And we only remove 40.
which is a really
Big net positive.
yes.
Yes.
We had years where we took out a lot of trees. Because they were aging out. So they had to go. And we did was it 16, we did a tree survey. And at that time, we had a little over 600 trees on city property that were dead, dying, or hazardous.
Wow.
So we started a tree removal program. So now when we have storms, we don't have roads closed because trees fall in, or we used to.
Understood.
Don't
makes
say
Tom-
that too early
Yeah,
today.
I know, we got a storm
Right.
coming.
I know.
Yeah.
It's-
We'll see
it's
where it
here.
goes next. The last time we had a road closed because a tree fell, it was a residential tree. Fell in the street, but it wasn't a city tree. So Tom Hinkle's very happy that that's the way it's working out.
Let me ask you, is that tree removal program obsolete now, or you don't do it anymore?
No, we still do it.
We still do it. It's just we don't have to do as many.
Let me ask you this, like, I'm starting to learn about the pear tree.
Yeah.
That's on our list to
Like,
talk
do
about.
we have
I
a
was
grant, do
wondering
we
if that was
take
gonna be
out
on
so
our
many,
list
or
of
Yes.
how many? Like, you make us?
You want to go ahead and address all that?
Yeah. We'll jump around. So
Yeah,
we are going to be starting a focused pear removal in the city of Mount Vernon this year. We have contracted to remove 80 pears that are in the city right of way. We will be removing them and replacing them with native trees. The Bradford pear, or the Callery pear, I don't know if they're all Bradford pears, but the Callery pear is an invasive species we have pretty much widespread across the whole U.S., but especially here in the eastern United States. We have several hundred, I can't remember if it was 600 or 800 pears in the city. Not all of them on or in our right of ways, but a large percentage of them are. And so we are going to try and get rid of them. They tend to take over where they are. They root sucker up a lot. They're not really great for wildlife. They're not really good for the area around them. Nothing else likes to grow around them. So we want to get rid of them. Like I said, this year we are removing 80, and we are talking about setting up a program for homeowners where if they remove pear trees on their private property, we will give them a voucher or something to replace the tree that they removed. That's something we have just started talking about, and I do believe we will follow through on. We just don't quite have all the details yet on how we're going to do that.
Is that a specific grant?
We've talked with the grantor about doing a grant for that.
Yep.
Quentin and I had a meeting last month with International Paper to talk with them about helping us in sponsoring the program. And they were interested in it, but it has to go through their advisor. There's a whole,
Are they at all, do they have anything local?
yeah, we have a local factory here. So you
Yeah.
met their local factory. And sustainability and tree planting, they plant millions of trees. So we offered to put their name all over it if they wanted to help us out. And they didn't say no. They gave us all their information, how to apply for a grant and all the specifications. And my last conversation with Quentin says, I think we can make it work.
Yeah.
But I don't know where we are in the grant application. We have until September to write that grant.
We've talked to Ariel as well about the
We
same
talked to the Arrow Foundation
project,
also.
and they're also interested, but we want to pursue all options and avenues because they're very generous. And so if we can find another source to help out with this, we will try.
What brought it out is in Licking County, they've started a program where if you remove a pear tree from your property, they will give you a voucher for a new tree. So we talked to Brian about that, and he can provide turn mine down. He can provide 3-gallon pots, a pot about this big, and the tree in a 3-gallon pot's about an inch or so, about an inch in diameter. So we could do vouchers for that kind of a tree. It'll be less expensive, so we'll be able to get more of them for our bang for our buck. But one of the things that I've commented on with all the conversations is, I have to take down this tree, and you give me this. So there's a bit of a sell. For me, I think it's a bit of a hard sell. But we're working at it. It's still in the infancy. Like Zane said, we're going to remove them on city property. We're going to work at that.
Yep.
But we're trying to get some partners for private property.
Yeah, and that's something I foresee we will do every year until we get them all. Yeah. So and this kind of goes into what you were asking, Russ, about the removals, if we're still doing that. Yes, we do maintenance, we do removals when we need to. But we had removed almost 1,300 trees in a 2-year period back in 2016, 17, something like that. Most of our hazard trees are gone. We have some, but it's maybe 10 a year or something like that. But we are still giving money. We still have funds to do maintenance on trees. So let's shift where some of that goes and get out things that we no longer want or need, or that are a different kind of hazard, maybe an environmental hazard.
When do you project in your mind that this like voucher, if it gets through, or private residency can apply for a pear tree?
It could be by next year. It could be before next year. Yeah.
Every year?
Yeah, well, so like Doc was saying, that grant application is due by summer. I don't know how long the review will go, let's say by the end of the year. So that's something we can maybe start by next year. I don't know that for sure, but
We have a lot of unknowns at this point.
yeah. But as far as us removing it, we are starting that this year.
The contractor that you have a contract with to remove the pear trees,
Yep.
does he have the ability to be able to give people that are on private property a deal when they want to take theirs off?
I can't speak to that. I don't know. So we are using SOS Tree Services. People are more than welcome to call him and ask and see if that's something they can get. If they, if we're doing this citywide removal program, if he is willing to do that, certainly reach out to him and ask. But I can't speak if he's going to cut a deal or not.
Maybe you knew anything
No.
past conversation.
No, I don't have.
It seemed reasonable that people would take advantage of that if he would say, hey, I'm in the
Yeah.
area.
It's something I haven't asked him. I haven't talked to him about it, but it's something I can ask. And it's maybe something I can ask multiple contractors that we have here in the city that are able to remove trees and see if we can say, hey, the city is backing this effort, and if you're for it, maybe you can help out to promote. You get business maybe at a slightly lower rate, but you get increased business. It's something maybe we can work out with, not just SOS, but maybe Hardwick or Yager or some of these other tree removal services. Yeah.
Do you guys, does the Shade Tree Commission, do we have a balance, like we plant this many trees and we take it, for every tree we take down, do we plant a tree? What's the balance of tearing down trees versus planting trees?
So the answer
Like,
is
it's too
yes,
late.
but because we're so far in the green. Last year we had mentioned we removed 40 and we're planting 460. So we're not, we do want to replace trees that we cut down, but it's not an intentional effort because we are planting so many. If we were equal, or offset to where we were moving more, we would focus on replacing exactly, but we're so far replacing that what we're removing, we don't have to worry about intentionally doing it because we are so far ahead of that.
Is it easier to plant a tree than, like, it seems like when I get on this committee, it's like plant. Let's go put stakes out, let's mail letters, like let's get as many trees planted, but why don't we do that same emphasis of getting rid of the, like the pear trees, for
Yeah.
example?
So you'll cut a tree down for 1 to 3,000. You can plant a tree for 300. That's the short answer. It's so much more expensive to get rid of trees. And if I wanted to say, let's remove all the pear trees, even if we had unlimited money, it would still take a couple years to do of nonstop work. So it's just more expensive to remove trees than it is to plant them. Unless you're planting all Big Johns and it's close.
No question, like, is it better to get rid of trees and plant fewer trees? Do you, let's just say we got $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it better long-term to get rid of as many trees as we can and plant instead of planting them?
It's a different fund. We remove trees and plant trees with different monies, so they don't come out of the same pool of money.
So once it goes in the Shade Tree Commission, but let's say the Cracker Jack Company donates money, do they designate it for planting trees or not? Is that what you're saying? It's a different fund?
Yeah, so we get funds for removals and maintenance and for plantings. And so we remove with up to X dollars and we plant up to X dollars. It's not the same pool of money. So we can't subtract from this one to grow this one. They're
Do
different.
we have more money coming in to remove trees or plant trees?
I don't know what the numbers are, but
We have more
yes,
money to plant trees.
Okay.
we have more in one. Yeah.
Because we have multiple sources.
Yeah.
I never knew what an invasive tree was till a few months ago.
Yeah. Yep.
So
He knows that.
I know now.
you're getting there. It just takes a little
I'm a slow learner.
But yeah, our ultimate goal is to increase our canopy.
Yeah.
So anytime we can put a tree in the ground, any day is a good day to plant a tree.
I
Can
wouldn't
we
be.
ever plant a tree in there? Let's say we plant this nice elm tree. Right there is an invasive tree. You wouldn't plant a nice tree right by an invasive tree, would you?
We
And
have
let that
to.
invasive tree take over?
Until they were invasive, we did that a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, we planted a lot of the pear trees in town that are planted. We, as a trade tree commission, have planted over the years.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was a good tree. It's a good street tree. It has a beautiful shape. It
Grows
makes nice
quickly.
flowers in the spring. It smells bad, but it makes nice flowers. They are very tolerant to the salt. So they've been a really good street tree.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the nature of them, they were supposed to be sterile, but they're not. So now you drive by, when you drive to Columbus in the spring, you see the road lined with white trees. That's the pear trees they're taking over. And as Zane said, other than a honeybee or some kind of bee that might take the nectar from the flower,
Mhm.
the tree has no use in our ecosystem. There's no animal, plant, or
Birds
bug or
hardly
anything
eat
that
it.
uses
Yeah.
it for anything other than maybe
Mhm.
a bird planting a net, a nest.
Is the wood
So-
good for smoking? Does it make
No.
like
So to
not
back
even
up,
good for
Mm.
barbecue?
You said when you got to the microphone that you guys are going to try to take out some invasive trees
Mhm.
in the city right away, correct?
Yep.
How many?
Until they're gone. We don't have a set number.
Oh, you don't? I mean, you don't have we have like $30,000 to get rid of these invasive.
As long as we have money and time, we will continue to remove them.
We picked 80 trees because we felt that
That's,
was
I
Yeah.
heard
because that
numbers
was a number that is
in the
reasonable.
right of way that,
It's
okay.
reasonable to. not
We
only for
started
removal, but
with
for
the idea of 100, and we had to back off because of time from contractors, money involved, all of that. So we're just picking numbers on what is feasible right now. We don't. The idea is all of them, but we don't have a set. We have to do 50 every year or anything like that. So
And one of the things with the pears is once you cut them, they have to be chemically treated to kill the root. If you
Mhm.
don't kill the root, you wind up with many more
Yep.
pear trees.
yeah,
So it's not only just cutting it down, they have to be chemically treated, and then the stump has to be ground out.
Mhm.
Then we can plant.
That's why it's a lot more expensive.
It is.
It is.
It's gonna be more expensive to remove them than it
Yeah.
ever was to plant them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to digress just a quick, it wasn't on the agenda, but Scott Zimmerman has been our maintenance person for years. Now Scott's part of the city and he can't do it.
Mhm.
Scott did our pruning, all our trees under 5 years old got pruned on a regular basis by Scott. He took care of invasives like the poison ivy, the grape, honeysuckle, autumn olive, any kind of invasives we had on city property, parks and land. So you had talked to someone about taking over some of those duties?
Yeah, we don't have a individual yet under contract or a company under contract, but we are actively pursuing someone to replace that role, which is, as Doc said, pruning, general maintenance on street trees for water bags, stakes, fertilizer, things like that, and then also for application of herbicides and pesticides. That requires a license through the state, and so, you know, we're looking at a couple different options. Doing the application in-house because we have licensed applicators with the city, maybe hiring that out, and having someone do the maintenance side, or hiring someone to do both. We're looking at several options. So the only reason we would do one over the other is we might get a better deal. Might be cheaper to just have them do one, or if it works out, there's no set reason we would do one or the other than we have the capability to do the application in-house. So if we have the time capacity, it would save money. But if we don't, we can hire it out because we do have those funds because we have been paying for that for a few years.
How much, or I don't know, how much roughly was spent per year, like last year?
The Shade Tree Commission contracted for $3,000 a year for invasive removals in the parks. The poison ivy, the grape, the autumn olive, that. Then the engineering department, the engineering that did it, they contracted for invasive removal on riverbanks, some of the street areas, some that Tom would have. Tom Hinkle would have something he'd call Scott, and he'd take care of it. So
the budget was lots of pieces, so it's.
Yeah.
piece.
All said, it was
Shade Tree
around
was
20.
responsible for 3,000.
Yeah, and all said, it was around 20,000. 1,000 a month for the maintenance, and then also the 3,000, and then the other 3,000 for invasives.
What we found is that if we prune and maintain our young trees, we have healthier, better trees in the future. Instead of what we're dealing with now are unhealthy, nasty trees. We're trying to do something proactive instead of reactive. So that's why we spent the money to do that.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Well, while I got you there,
Yeah. There's plenty of things I can talk about.
you can talk about a bunch of things.
Yeah.
We'll try it. What do you got?
Well, so depends on how much time we have.
Well, we got a couple things to go over other than this.
Okay.
What,
8 o'clock tonight.
yeah, no, we have to be out here by 4.
I gotta make a phone call then, but other than that, I'm good.
What else you got on your list?
So I worked on the watering list to give to Randy. Randy's not here. I don't know if he'll be able to make it. It sounds like he had a meeting that butted right up against this one. So we have the complete watering list for trees that Brian Wade has planted for us. So we will be getting that to Randy Purcell, our parks director, and he has a seasonal crew who does all the watering for us. So Doc had mentioned the gear that they had just purchased, the equipment for watering. So likely they will be starting that here in the next week or two. And with this list, they are good to go. So that's just a quick note there.
I need to email him a TCP water bag list.
Yes,
Is that through the city email the best way to?
Yes, I do have that also. If you want to just check it, and then we can forward that along to him. Because in addition, they'll be installing all the water bags, and then taking part in watering only a portion of them that came through the Arbor Planning Fund. So we have 3 different funds. Is that correct? TCP, Arbor Plantings, and Arbor Trust. Yes, the TCP is the group that the resident has to water the trees themselves. But it allows us to plant on private property. The other ones are only city-owned properties. So that's the distinguishing factor there. But we provide water bags for all our trees and stakes and mulch for all of our trees. Where mulch is sometimes maybe it's not good to mulch a certain tree, but for the most part we mulch, stake, and put water bags on all the trees. So there's that. We will be covered there. Next topic, we were giving 100 American chestnut hybrids from the Division of Forestry Earlier this week, today's Tuesday, so it was last week, at the end of last week, Alistair Reynolds came down, brought us 100 American chestnut trees, and the only thing is we had to plant them. So yesterday we went out, the engineering department went out and planted those in West Ariel. Scott, before he joined us, was working at Ariel Foundation Park and had removed a large section of invasive species over in the West Ariel, now Columbus Delano prairie. And so we took these native hybrids and planted them in some of those locations, and hopefully we'll have a good success rate. It is the perfect site for them. Right soil, right facing slope, good full sun, and currently no vegetation to outcompete them. So we're looking at maybe fencing them in and doing some other pest management on those. I also was given 150 to 200 native persimmon starts from a gentleman down in Columbus, and so we will also be planting those around the city. There is a prairie in the Blackjack Wetlands, which is the southern part of town off of Newark Road, close to where the Liberty Crossing development is being built. It's a perfect site for them. There's a prairie there that is it's in the early stages of being overrun by invasives. So part of Bee City, we are going to look at removing those invasives, doing a controlled burn, seeing what comes up, and then reestablishing native populations of pollinator plants there. And a part of that, we're also going to plant these persimmons there, and then also maybe along the Kokosing River on the west side of Riverside Park where the lime storage ponds are. We have a covenant area there with the Army Corps of Engineers from a project that we had done a couple years ago, and in order to bring that into compliance, we need to plant some native trees and help them to survive. And I think that would be a great spot for them because persimmons like a forest edge, and right there along the riparian zone is a forest edge and a area that we already have set aside for protection. So we will be planting those as well. Those are two things I talked to Doc about before we came up here today. So that'll increase our trees planted 250 this year compared to the 465. So quite a few.
That's a good one.
It's pretty good.
Who plants all
Yes.
those for you? Do you get the career center to do that for you?
We didn't for these. We planted them, the engineering department. As far as the persimmons, that'll be through Bee City, which is a group we have here in Mount Vernon. They are, again, called Bee City. They're a national organization. I don't know if that's the proper term, but boiling it down, they promote native pollinator habitat in the jurisdiction in which they are set up. Ours, of course, is inside the corporation limit of the city of Mount Vernon. So we are focusing on creating pollinator habitat and corridors so that these pollinators, bees, wasps, butterflies, birds, have places to stop over as they travel through. So Bee City will be planting those particular trees, and then engineering planted the chestnuts.
How many of the other chestnuts?
We had very few
We have planted in the other site, we had planted these chestnuts before in years past, over also on the west side of town, close to where the old soccer field was. It's now kind of a de facto dog park by the U-Haul place. We had planted 100 there and then went back with about another 50. There are currently maybe 20 surviving out of the 150. So
This is a hybrid. It's called a 15-16 hybrid, and State was planting them, was taking them out and planting them in the forest, and was getting very little success rate. So I talked to Alistair and said, we want chestnut trees. I wanted American chestnut, but he's been providing us the last few years with them, and we're willing to try.
yeah.
If we can get them to survive, we're happy.
The only thing that is required for us is we plant them in the city so that if they succeed, they can maybe come back and look and see why they did well and maybe why they didn't. So, yeah, just as a potential research for them.
Did any of those red oaks get planted yet?
Yes, for B City, the Acorns, yes. We still have some more, I don't know how many. So Doc provided, do you know roughly how many?
Oh geez, it was one of my patients, so it was
Yeah.
it was a box, about shoebox size full of them.
Couple
All
hundred.
had little
Yeah.
rootlets on them, all those starts.
And B City also had started planting those. I don't know if they got them all, but they got quite a few. Oh, and also we planted more seed on the Beach Street ditch yesterday.
Okay, that was one of my
Yes.
questions too. Okay.
Yes.
Good, I knew that we'd gotten the seed for it, but I wasn't sure where we were.
Yes, we planted that yesterday
Good.
as well. Or seeded it, not planted.
Yeah. All right,
Yes.
you're staying busy.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. Very good, we appreciate it.
Yeah. There's probably more, but
Yeah. Yeah, there's more B City stuff. We'll get back to it.
yeah.
You want, the Arboretum, the square, we were gonna.
Yes.
We're working to get the square designated as an Arboretum, so that in the future they can't come put a road in the middle of it.
This
Like,
square?
yeah, this
Yeah.
square here. It's a beautiful, it's a gem in the city. It's really just a great spot.
Yeah.
So we're working to get it. Zane's been working on the application. Emailed, drew up one of the kiosks, and I took it down to Creative Imaging, and they were gonna give us a draft, but they didn't have it done today. So hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have a draft, and then we can work
Yep.
on how we're gonna do
And I'll have, so we're going to, there are 4 levels of Arboretum designations. We are just going for a level 1. You need 26 species of shrubs or trees. We meet that. We need to have a event in that space every year. Doesn't have to be an Arbor Day event. We have First Fridays. We have Arts Festival, several other things. So as long as during one of those, and we do with B City and Shade Tree and Park have a booth set up, but as long as we continue to do that, we will meet requirements there. And then we have to have an Arboretum plan, which I have been working on drafting. It's just how are we going to care for this? What are we, our goals and desires and all of that. Those get submitted, they get reviewed, and upon approval, you get certification for a level 1 Arboretum. Doc mentioned sign, that's another one of the requirements. So we will put signs throughout the square that have the species, and then we're thinking of doing a QR code to a link to give all the information on those species if anyone is interested on learning about them. Yep.
Very good. Questions, anybody?
Does B City meet separately?
Yes.
So they're
yes.
not considered a city committee, so they're
no,
allowed
not
to.
they're kind of they're just kind of a subdivision of us, I guess.
Branch.
We're B City is sponsored by Shade Tree.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, branch, I like that one, yeah.
I said it twice.
Yeah, yeah, it just took me a little while to get
Everybody else
it
caught
in.
it.
Yeah, I'm just a little slower. All
There
right.
was a buzz in the air.
Yeah, a buzz in the air, yeah. All
I think
right.
You're up.
Thank you, Zane.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
We'll jump around here. The ODNR grant, that was actually funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Boy, I couldn't get that one out, which has been shot down and all the people involved in it have been fired. So there will be no grants through any of those programs in the near future. So that knocks out, we had planned to do the industrial park. We had a good plan for that. And Aaron Silva's trying to get a food force going, and we had thrown that in with the grant to see if we get some money to help her, but it's not happening. And I'm scheduled to meet with Aaron, I think in a couple weeks, to talk to her a little bit more about the food force, so maybe we'll have something. I'm looking at it as a 3 to 5 year project. I think she's thinking of a do it now project. We'll see we'll see how it all goes. So that's where the grant went. So we've got the Tree City Banquet's coming up May 8th in Reynoldsburg. I know Laura's going, I know I'm going, I know Zane's going. Anybody, and I know Sarah's not. Is there anybody else that wants to go?
I'm going.
You're gonna go to
Oh,
the Tree
Quentin
City
asked me.
Banquet?
Yeah.
Because I need to get the list to Quentin so he can get the reservations made.
Yes.
Would you like to go?
I've got a schedule.
Okay. All right.
Linnea, you're welcome as well.
What's that?
You're welcome to
You're welcome to go if you'd like.
Thank you.
It's just all the, Russ calls us tree nerds. All the tree nerds get together and talk about what they've been doing.
Awesome.
And plus we get awards.
Yes, and we get our Tree City USA award, and this year we'll be awarded Growth Award again. Last year, we have 45 communities in our region, and there were 11 Growth Awards last year. We were one of them. We've been Growth Award. Only one, we got shot down on one of them because they had a computer glitch and didn't get the stuff
They
in.
blame, yeah.
We've
blame
done,
us.
we've been Growth Award for,
That's awesome.
8 years anyway, at least, maybe more. Because we did a couple and then we missed a couple and then I was trying to do a string of them, but we got, we're picking it up again. So that's where we are. So we'll add Judy to the list for that and I'll get that to Quentin. So last time in, we talked about Gilchrist Estates. We're gonna jump around. You all got the thing for Gilchrist Estates?
I don't.
Well, you weren't here last night,
Right.
sorry.
Exactly.
It was an email that went out. It was,
Okay.
it shows the layout of where they were. It has our tree planting and preservation program. There's a list of the tree removals that had to be done. And one of the things that came up in the meeting was a person that lives in that area says he doesn't think that the contractors are doing what they should be doing with the trees, how they're being planted and how they're being cared for. So we said we'd look at the material and go over it. I'm gonna defer to email that, his area. You didn't know I was gonna put you on the spot, did you?
No.
Did he get the email? What was the guy's name? Do you remember?
Rich.
Rich,
Did he get this too?
I don't know.
I don't know if he got that.
Okay.
But this has the trees planting specifications, the city ordinance, and
Sure.
and all the stuff that was being removed. So the plan was, when we talked to him, was that we would review this and then set up a time to go out and walk the neighborhood and see just how many trees are in compliance, if they all are, if none of them are, what might be going on. And then get back with the contractor and say, hey, we think you can do better here, or this is good, or whatever it might be. So when you reviewed it, based on your knowledge.
Very boilerplate stuff.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of communities have this in their conditions of putting things together. So it depends upon each individual community's outlook as to what's good and what's not good within these parameters that they give, and these are really loose parameters. And he did highlight the developer shall provide for proper care of newly planted trees and warranty for survival of 1 year per planting. Very common, right? 1 year, and that's all it is. I remember him saying that they were planting trees, spruce, every 5 foot apart or something like that. When the spruce ends up going, 30-foot diameter and 60-foot high and all of that. And he was saying there was nobody watching them, and well, we're just going to plant them in here. Well, wouldn't it be great to have all those trees spread out a little bit so that they grow where they do? So that's how that all started when it came up in front of us. So we just decided that we would, at that meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, that we would get together with him and then go out together and have the plans in hand, and with everybody's expertise and different things we've seen, we can say, yeah, that looks like it should be normal or it shouldn't. But so what does that mean? Does that mean we schedule a meeting, or?
Well, he's not here today to
So we want
coordinate
him to
time.
be with it,
I
right?
think-
Obviously.
I
yeah.
think we would want the community, the neighborhood person to be with us when we do that.
This is
It's
the
not-
deer problem guy too.
Yeah, he has a problem with deer also.
Can I make a
But
motion?
nobody's
that-
just taking a ride out there to just look.
I was gonna say, can Emil go out there and do the walk and let
Even
us
if you
know?
just looked and didn't.
I go with Emil. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I walk around with you.
I would prefer to have everybody together,
Yeah, have as many as we
Yeah.
could, so, 'cause-
because there's gonna be other people who see things that I don't see.
and it's very hard, very knowledgeable, and it's his, knows his stuff, but it's very hard for him to look at it and say, this one looks bad, and you've never seen it, and you say, what? Or, yeah, I agree. I think it's better if we all kind of get an eyeball on it, or as many of us as we can get an eyeball on it. So let's move this to the next meeting, and I'll bring it back up in the agenda again. You're fair, everybody good with that?
So, when was the development actually completed? The plans are 2021, but the year must have gone by that they were
Well,
responsible for.
there were 3 phases, and they're now starting phase 2. So I think we're past the year.
But then Quentin was saying, like, there's the whole thing, but the city has to accept it into the city's, there was that. So
right now, it's not city
Which-
property, it's
But the
owned by
trees, so the trees are no one's responsibility because the city hasn't accepted it and it's beyond the year? Is that how that works? Like no man's
That's,
land?
yeah, no man's land, that's one of those things, I think if we come up with a list and say, at this address, we don't like this address, we don't like that, we can go back to the contractor and see what kind of remediation we can get done, get them to correct things or replant or whatever. And it's like he says, it's very kind of loose. The original ordinances said you had to replace, if you took down a 1-inch tree, you had to replace it with a 1-inch tree. Well, they had to remove 900 and some trees just to build the roads and the lots. And there was no way you can plant 900 trees when you're doing that. So we made some concessions, and it was the first time we'd ever dealt with any kind of development, so it's a learning curve.
Sure.
So there's some things that we know a little better as we go further. So we'll bring that, I'll put it back on the agenda for next month, hopefully he shows up and we can work out a time and date to
I
get
think
together.
we have, or I know I could get his contact, so maybe we can try and have been out there by next month.
Let him know that he needs to be here at the
Well,
next meeting,
if
or,
we can already
Maybe
have
someone can
met with him,
Email-
and then we
Email
can,
me that later, like whenever.
then
Yeah.
we can talk about it, deliberate, and then he can show up, and we can tell him.
so let's do that, let's see if you can get a hold of him, and let's kind of get it in the email and try to get everybody to pick a time when we all
Yeah.
get together.
You know, I'd like to not, he has been asking for a while, so if we can get out there, that would be good. I will be able to be there. I'm sure we can get Quentin there as well. Quentin will know the code better than any of us, and then, you know, I'll know our trees, and so we'll be able to, get it together, and then we can add you to the shade tree email as well. We will find a time that works the best for the most amount of people.
Okay, I think that's a good way to approach it.
A lot of times these specifications are kind of vague in
Yep.
a way, and then it makes sense for those of us that know what we're talking about to guide,
Yep.
you know, okay, yeah, you should be planting those, you know, at least 10, 15-foot apart instead of 5
Yeah,
foot.
so I think because it's in that no man's, there may be certain, I don't know the development very well, there may be instances where we can go to the developer and be like, this needs fixed, and you have to fix it. Or it may just be, we go out there and we make a recommendation, and that's the best we can do.
Based- Based on our legal document, probably recommendations best
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do.
so, but doesn't mean we can't try.
But they want to work with us on, they wanted to work with us before, and I think they probably want to develop other properties somewhere, so.
Yeah, no, they are not unreasonable in the slightest. Their main thing is building houses and roads and infrastructure, not necessarily trees. So they might not be thinking about it first, but if we remind them, I'm sure they are willing to do something. So
I think that sounds like a good plan.
yeah,
And hopefully we can get together before the next meeting. If not, then we'll go from there. Not like it has to happen today. We would like to get on
yeah,
top
it's
of
one of those problems that can't be solved in a day anyway. So
it. Okay, so we got a couple minutes yet. I want to talk to Randy real quick. Water, you got the water list? Did you get the parts yet?
Just received them
Okay,
about 20, well, when I got back to shop.
good deal. So we'll be able to get that up and running.
Should be.
And then you have last year's
When did
water
you get it,
list.
like 20 minutes ago? Is it on?
When I got back to the shop, they were sitting there
Parts
in
of
a
it.
bag.
So it's on right now then?
Well, he's gonna work on it. He's gonna get it on the truck so they can get used it. So you have last year's water list for the stake removal?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to task your group with that since we lost Scott on that. Add that to your fund list.
I think they should be able to handle it.
So as, Zane's got a list for you. As Brian gets trees in, he'll be emailing you so you can add it to your list. And then you'll work with Brian on bags from now on.
Yeah, he can get with me.
So
when
there
he
are
needs
some,
them.
there are some TCP trees that have gone in that will need bags that aren't bagged yet. Sarah will get that,
I'll just send you the whole.
send you the whole
70
list and you can kind of
tree
go from
list,
there.
yeah.
Find one that doesn't have a bag, you can put a bag on it.
We can get them.
Fair enough. Anything else we can do for you that we need to do done?
Right now, it's just trying to get this put all together, and I think we're all right. And hopefully get the girls back.
Same crew as last year?
I believe so.
That'll be good to have, there'll be 3 years they're in it. They'll be real excited about this new equipment.
I hope.
Yeah.
We went from having things piecemealed together and mostly working most of the time to a very specific designed for the use system. So hopefully it definitely will fill the bags quicker because it pumps so much more water and it'll be much more reliable. See how that goes. Thank you. And we'd like you to work with Brian on bags and that.
Yeah.
We're good on that. All right. Anybody have questions about anything with watering?
God's doing it right
Yeah, we need it right now. Farmers are happy. They were out, it was dusty as heck yesterday when they were all out plowing, so they'll be happy with that. So I've got the targeted areas here. This is where we targeted the West End last year. So everybody got a copy of the sample letter and except for you. And the
Understood.
postcard we did, we were doing 2 pieces.
Oh, from the last meeting.
Yeah, we talked about that. So, in talking with, Samara said, you should make the postcard prettier, more colors and some things. And I thought, okay, well, that's good. My line of thinking was, let's stick with one letter, so we're not doing multiple things, with multiple ways to contact us through the letter. Email, QR code, phone number, and then
Hyperlink, whatever.
hyperlink to the application, just multiple ways so that they only have one piece of paper to look at. They only have one time they have to look at it and fool with it.
And cut down the cost in half.
Yeah, we'll cut our mailing costs in half, and hopefully it will increase acceptance, and it will definitely make it easier, because last year we had how many interns working on it? Half a dozen, and some things got missed and overlooked and lost. We had names but no addresses, and phone numbers and no addresses. It's kind of all a bunch of different
We
things.
found them in the end, but
Yeah, we're gonna get them in, it'll happen. And if not, they'll call us and we'll do it next year. Yeah.
everyone's welcome to get a tree inside city limits.
So other than just doing one letter, did anybody have any ideas how to change it? Did you look at it?
now. I like the QR code when it goes out, like,
Yeah, it's very simple to set the QR code to go right to the application where they can just fill it out, just like they would if they were typing in an email address.
Yep. Very few people don't have a smartphone nowadays, and if they don't, we're gonna provide multiple ways to get a hold of us. Yep.
So does that sound like a good idea for everybody?
yeah, get that here.
Okay. I don't need that back.
Okay.
I have copies,
I can make that.
or we can get more copies. Okay. Well, we have since we got a couple minutes, we'll go back to a little bit of B-City. We put it, part of the community development block grant program we did at the Dan Emmett area. We put in a bio retention pond. So it's something that needs to be planted. It's like a rain garden, but it's a modified or hybrid of a rain garden. So we're gonna plant that. There was funding in the whole program to get the plants for that. And Quentin has been working with Rachel Hauser. She's part of the Modern Woodsman, and there's another group that she's part of that are volunteers that want to help with that. So he was working with them on that. We'll see where we go, how that goes.
That's still the plan. Plan is to vegetate it, even maybe potentially put a bald cypress in there.
Yeah, we want to put one bald,
Yeah.
Brian has 2 bald cypress. One of them will go at Pleasant Street, and we hope to put the other one in at the Dan Emmett.
Yep.
I don't know exactly when yet. So, then on the P-City part, let's see, you did Beach Street, we got Dan Emmett.
First Fridays.
First Fridays.
When's our first Friday?
May.
It's in May?
June.
No,
Oh, is it
the
June?
first
Oh,
Friday
they
is
changed
June.
it to
June.
June, yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
B-City will have a booth.
Yeah, I think we already encumbered the money to pay for that.
Yep. And so we will have people there every,
First Friday.
every first Friday. We will also have information on Shade Tree at that
Awesome.
booth, so.
Oh, yeah, we need to do that real quick. Okay. Okay, I want to talk, one more thing. Everybody got an email from Quentin, or should have, about Moorpack Regional Ohio, Mid-Ohio Regional Planning and their sustainability initiative. We'll Quentin,
No.
did you get one? Or you familiar with it?
No, but I'm sure I will get a bunch of things.
Yeah, you're
so-
gonna get a lot of stuff.
Yes,
Um,
that's okay.
But Mid-Ohio has a sustainability vision, and they're looking for input. So if you could take a few minutes and look through their ideas, and then there's a section in there where you can provide comments. So if there's something you'd like to see, they're open to suggestions. And we always are, you print yours out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't printed mine out. We are, we're always pushing trees. Should I say pushing? Yeah, we're always pushing trees.
Planting trees.
Planting trees, yeah, every day is a good day to plant a tree. We're always planting trees. There it is. Anybody want to see it?
Sure.
We'll make sure that the
We're
emails.
killing trees, people, we're killing trees.
Yeah, we use paint. Yeah, we're messing up our carbon footprint and killing trees doing all this, but hey, you know,
But with Sporting International Paper.
but we're yeah, something that came up, and this has been a couple years in the making. There's, giant sequoias grow out in California. I'm gonna say this real quick. But we have people that are growing them in northern Michigan. They've got one that's 120 years old. It's a humongous tree. And then last week, the city of Detroit they have planted giant sequoias in some of their vacant lots. And I had talked to Brian about it last year. And I would like to get some giant sequoia starts. They're only an inch to 2 inches tall. They're very small, so we'd have to plant them in a very protected area, which we have in the Blackjack Road Prairie.
And other places.
And
We
other
have
places,
some
but
other
that's one of the places that's most secluded,
Yeah.
where we could plant them, put a cage around them, and let them grow. And then as they get big enough to put in other places, we could put them other places. So I would like to get a few of them. We can get, I can get 5 of them for, I think it's $49 and change plus shipping. In the past, when I've done things like that, I've done a purchase order to me and I've just bought them and then they reimburse me for them. But Quentin has a better way of doing things, so he may be able to do it. So I was thinking about 10 of them, but does anybody have a better idea or something different they'd like, or more or less?
I love that. So you're going to plant them in one spot till they get to be.
We're gonna plant them in an area where we can kind of keep an eye on them, and then once they get to the size where they're sufficient to
Which
move.
is like, what, 5 feet? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. They're expected to grow 6 to 8 inches a year. So I would imagine in 2 to 3 years, they would be a big enough size to transplant. Does that sound right, Brian? Something.
Everything goes right.
We
Yeah,
see
if
how
they-
long- They
if
might
they
not
do.
grow that long.
And they might not grow that well, or they might grow
take
better.
longer.
Yeah, it could take longer. But we do have this, and we do have some areas in the community that have the proper soil and the proper conditions that we potentially can grow giant sequoias.
That sounds neat.
We'll never see them. We won't see them as giants, but we will see them.
Put one on
So,
the square and
yeah.
it's big enough to cut a hole and drive. We need a road.
No, we don't want them driving through the square. That's part of
But
that.
if they have to.
But,
No, we're gonna be a level 1 arboretum.
yeah, we
What?
don't want any roads through there.
Nope.
So,
Walk
if-
through it.
would you want to do a vote on that we fund a little bit of those, and how many you think we should fund?
I'd say at least 10.
At least 10? I like at least 10.
Sure.
So
What
I make
is-
a motion that the Shade Tree Commission buys 10 these.
Sequoias.
Sequoias.
Giant
Yeah,
sequoias.
What is the survival rate?
That's
Do
what
you
I
need
was
to buy-
That I don't know
Do
in
you
our
need to buy
area.
like 20 or?
Yeah, it's unknown, it's like the chestnut trees, how many of them will
Well,
really
based
will
on that, you need to buy more if it's similar.
buy a larger quantity?
I'm just saying, what did you plant? Like 100 chestnut and you have 15?
Yes. How big is that spot out there? It's Blackjack Road,
8 acres, I don't know, it's pretty good.
but the prairie area,
Yeah, the
Oh,
whole
it's-
wetland's almost 60.
so it's an 8 acre area that's a prairie that's starting to get overgrown, they wanna do some things with it, but it's secluded. And that's the part that appealed to me, we can plant them, we can put a cage around them, and we don't have to, hopefully not have people get them.
We will, as far as the Blackjack Wetlands goes, it is under Owl Creek,
Conservancy.
Protection, so we will just have to check with them and make sure.
If
they're-
not, we have an area.
We have some other
uh,
places.
We have some other areas in town where we could put them where they'd be out of the way.
So I vote for more than,
Vote for more than 10, like 20?
how much were they again?
We get about $50, about $10 a piece. I don't know what shipping will cost. But yeah. How many you wanna gamble on? Where's the dice? We're running out of time.
One over
25?
25, okay, 25. All right, so, do we wanna vote on that, or you just all in agreement?
She made a motion, somebody
Made a
said
motion.
second. I second it.
You second it, all in favor? All right,
Aye.
so I'll talk
There you
with
go.
Quentin, we'll see about getting that. So we really need to cut this off, but we have a new council liaison, and now that we have a couple of people here. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Lynn Hager, and I am new to City Council in the 4th Ward. I picked up where Mike Miller left off, and I'm very happy to continue in his efforts for the 4th Ward.
All right,
I am in the 4th ward.
so am I, so am I.
So I think I,
You are.
uh-oh.
I know for sure you are. You
Yeah,
signed my
Zane
petition.
is, yeah.
I am also, yes.
Yeah, so-
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we'll be on the phone. Why aren't you? No. Oh.
We have an idea about trees.
Yeah, we have an idea. Well, you met everybody. This is Russ Metzger. Russ is a new member this year.
You too.
Email,
Hi.
Diener.
Thiener. God, I couldn't get it out of my head, sorry. He's a new member this year. so he's a-
I know you from somewhere.
I was gonna say, you look familiar, I got no idea where. We'll
Yeah.
have to talk.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. And it just could be from being in Mount Vernon, you know what I mean? Just because I'm all over the place. So, yeah.
You met Zane, and we have Randy personally. He's our
Hi,
park
Randy.
superintendent. You know Randy?
I do now.
You're gonna get to know him.
He and I think are gonna, work.
All right.
Yep.
And then you met Judy, I think, earlier.
Yep.
She was in earlier. I think
Yeah,
you,
you
I
met
think you
Sarah.
met everybody.
Yes, I met Sarah.
Sarah, yeah, Sarah. This is, yeah. Hey, I did well this time.
Hey, it's not over yet.
Yeah, it's not officially over yet. Okay. Anybody else have anything else they want to bring up?
I think it's 48.
48 Arborvitae?
Yeah, if I add
48
it.
Arborvitae in the Heartland Commerce Park sometime this year. They'll be added, and those will be just squirting them. Okay, when that happens, we'll let you know. They're in groups, so they aren't spread out, so that'll make it easier. All right, so we need to adjourn because we
I
need
make
to
a
go.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much for everything you do, guys. We'll see you next month.